Thank you all for joining our webinar today. This webinar is being recorded and we will share the web link with you later on. Please note, for those of you that have any questions throughout the presentation, please place them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We will go ahead and recite the questions and answer them at that time. For those of you that have joined us today, you are also entered into a drawing to win a Lumens Full HD web camera. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Chester Lee, Lumens VP of Sales, and Mr. Joris Nevens, the General Manager for Europe. Chester, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, hon. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing very well today. I want to talk about some of the solutions that we've had with Lumens and kind of focus on a specific topic that we have today with the learning management system. So we'll kind of go in depth with that piece on here. My name is Chester Lee, so Vice President of U.S. Sales, and in addition with that, I've got Joris Nevens, the General Manager for Europe, on the phone with us today. So Joris, thanks for staying up extra late this evening to join us, and I appreciate that very much. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about some of the agendas. We'll just do a quick Lumens overview of who we are, some of the specifics of what makes Lumens an advantage versus some of our competitors and what makes it valuable for you in your market. And then we'll dive deeper into the Lumens learning management system and talk about the Lumens solutions that support that piece on there. So for us, Lumens, we're a manufacturer and focusing on optics, but we have three core technologies of what we do on there. So we first talk about connectivity. We talk about AV over IP, and this is just not just standard Cat5 connectivity on there, but also we talk about protocols supporting NDI and Dante as well. We focus on our optical strengths as we are a manufacturer, so we have the highest in quality of lenses. Third most important piece that we want to talk and add to that is talk about, that we've taken the image, we've taken the connection, but how do we process this image to provide you with the best solution on there? So those are our three focus categories that we do and support this. So for our partners that are in the United States, we're divided up into three regions, with Eddie in the Northeast, Andrew in the Southeast, and Brandon in the West Coast. For our partners who are calling in from other regions of the world, please feel free to reach out to me directly. In addition, at the very bottom, we also have Rick Paleo, our product engineer. We actually will have a link at the end, but you can go ahead and register a time with him for a presentation, a demo, etc. with him. So why Lumens, and why can Lumens help you in your installations or on your projects? So let's talk about a few advantages that we do carry on there. Number one is our 5-year warranty. So we carry a 5-year warranty on all of our products. So when you buy a product and let's say 4 years, 10 months down the line, it does happen to fail, go ahead and reach out to a local regional manager or just jump online and fill up the RMA form, and that will go ahead and we can go ahead and accept that process. And we'll go ahead and we'll ship that out via UPS ground. Depending on if the product is still a valid product or not, it will be replaced with the same one or with the more recent model on there. Two other feature sets that we carry is that the majority of our products are made in Taiwan. So we are TAA compliant with about 95% of our SKUs, except for some mounts. In addition to that, our cameras are all NDAA compliant as well. In addition to this, for our resellers, we do offer deal registration on all projects. And that deal registration is very simple. If you have an open opportunity for Lumens, you just need 1 unit to submit a registration. That can be done through our distribution partners on there. And the typical turnaround time that we do have is a 24-hour turnaround time. So we're pretty quick in getting that back, sometimes even in the next 4 hours. So it just depends on the time of day. In addition, as we talk about the products and solutions that we have today, if you want to go ahead and give it a test drive, please feel free to reach out to any of our regional managers and they can assist you with getting a demo you sent out for 30 days worth of testing on there. So with the Lumen solution, we carry a complete solution coming from the point of taking the image directly and from the camera to the point of where it streams out to the real world. And we'll talk about that solution and that workflow in this presentation here. In addition with that, Lumens is very vested in a number of different partners in the AV environment with NDI, with Dante, Zoom certification. So our products are very compatible in the market and compatible with other solutions on there. So let's kind of dive into what learning management systems are, or it could be, you could be looking at a number of different things, but let's take a look at what the environments are. I don't want us to think of this as just a educational material tool for college or for K-12 market on there. There are a number of different environments that you have that can support this. So you talk about in medical labs, house of worship, courts, corporate market, or federal state. I think when we talk about learning management system, we really want to focus on any form of use of training. So that can be training to be done live, can be done later at night, if someone wants to watch it, but it just any form of organization that uses it for some type of training material, I think it's important to look at a solution that fits it best. Well, with personalized learning, we talk about why is the learning management system important, and I think it really helps in personalized learning and also dealing in situations where we're not all in one place now. It's a high flex room, so it could be some in the class, some in the training room, some at home, some in a different part of the office. Heck, some in different parts of the world. So it just really depends on the environment. But the point is that it meant to make it very all inclusive. So no matter where you are, you can be part of it live or remote. So when people are making this content, they're actually really looking to adapt it to make it more targeted for the individual. As you noted, you can stream the information and watch it live, or you can watch it later in the evening. I think of it as another advantage, especially when I was back in college, the ability to rewatch what you miss, right? As we were taking notes in college, loved to have the ability to hit rewind and say, hey, what did you just say? So that way allows us to really dial in on things that we may have missed or allow us to really get more in depth with what we're looking to do. With the LMS solutions, you also see more enhanced interactions. As I noted, meeting equity is important. So if you have that training capability, you have the meeting equity for people that are in the room or actually remote, depending on the situation on there. In addition to that, it gives you real-time communication. So you can do that in chat rooms, questions directly online, or just message boards later on. So it just depends on what the environment or what you guys decide what you want to do on there. Last thing is capturing the lectures as a whole, right? So depending on the solutions, you got to figure out how you're going to record it as you stream it live or as you decide to record and edit it. What routes do we go and what can you use? And then from there, after you've made those edits or decide that you want to stream it live, what platform are you using? Are you using YouTube, Twitch, or maybe Facebook? Or maybe you're using an LMS service like Panopta or Kaltura to help with your solution on there. So it just kind of depends on what you're going to do. We'll talk about these products in depth. I want to go a little bit more in depth in regards to our media processor as well. So Panopta, we are certified with Panopta on our LC100 and our LC200 series, and we're not going to go into part numbers, but we also have a new LC300 that just launched, and that's in the process of getting certified as well. So let's go ahead and review the Lumens solution, or let's review kind of the environment that you've got to work with. So in this situation that you guys are seeing on the screen right now, you've got standard, maybe a training room where you've got an overhead projector or a document camera listed here with your laptop here. You've got a camera that's tracking camera. And we'll talk about more in depth on the tracking cameras in a bit, but that will allow the presenter to walk back and forth, and the camera will allow the camera to follow that individual instructor on there. In addition with that, we'll have possibly a secondary camera in the back that would focus back on the audience that we're seeing on there. So let's go ahead and let's dive deeper and let's talk about the components that are associated with it. Now let's start with the media processor. In this image, we have the LC200, but Lumens, we call this the capture vision solution on there. So we've got a few different models, but what I want you to take away from this of this is that the media processor allows you to have, three major functions that allow you to switch camera images. One, two, record the content, not just that one image that you're streaming, multiple images that you've got set up, and allow the ability to do live streaming immediately or for future or for editing. So let's go ahead and we'll go back into this a little bit more here. So as we look at the cycle of the capture vision, so we'll talk about from the point of where you record, stream, store, produce, switch, and automate. So there's a number of functionalities. We'll talk about the GUI interface in a few moments as well. As we know, we do have three different flavors to choose from here on our high-end LC300 series to our entry-level LC100. The LC300 will have a 4 HDMI or 4-channel connection on there, while the LC100 series is a 2-channel solution. As noted, we work with a number of third-party platforms for the streaming capabilities on there. In addition with that, we talk about multiple streaming sources. So this to me is a very important piece. So we have, depending on the model, you have either 2 or 4 HDMI ports, or 2 to 4 channels is what I should say on there. And as a participant that's watching the video, we can make the choices and choose between camera 1, camera 2, channel 3, channel 4, etc. on there. So it gives you that ability to customize it to the way that fits best for you. So in our devices, we have 3 choices to choose for connectivity via HDMI, USB, or via IP. So those are the 3 choices that you have for connectivity. As noted, depending on the model, it's 2 to 4 channels that you have on there. So at that point, you can select individual channels to support what type of camera. And in a scenario where you have multiple IP cameras, obviously you can have much more than that. So you can have 2 or 3 cameras loaded up on a specific channel. And as you go through, you can go ahead and switch between individual cameras to support that. So you'll see that feature is going to be built into the LC300, which is the video channel manager. So the other features I want to talk about is the video source. So we can figure out how to encode and choose specific file formats for the compression recording. So this allows programs and individual source to be recorded. So depending on what you want to do, you can make those adjustments. And then last but not least is how you want to choose to stream your solutions on there. So from there, we've talked about it, YouTube, Facebook, Panopto, etc. There's a number of different choice formats that you want to use. In addition, with some of the video sources on there, we talk about scene selections here. So 2 of the more popular ones that we see is kind of scenario number 2 down here, where the main image could be a lecture where they're showing on the whiteboard, while you have the individual presenter in the bottom right-hand corner, or something that you do, and I do watch a lot of podcasts where you have multiple individuals speaking. If you have 2 people speaking, you've got 2 camera choice here, and then in our LC200 or our LC300, you can have a 4-channel solution, so up to 3 or 4 other people on the video shot on that. So that's built in, very simplified in the GUI interface on there. The next is the storage, and let's talk about how the storage is done right now. So our device does have a built-in 4 terabyte hard drive built into the device. So when you're taking the images from the camera, it's automatically being recorded directly into this hard drive. From there, you can set up multiple options to take that content to put it onto a NAS. You want to maybe put it to a USB or just send it to a cloud. It just depends on what you want to do for that backup. By allowing you to do that portion of it, you can go ahead and take the content from camera 1, 2, or channel 1, 2, or channel 3 and 4, take a look at that content and edit as need be, and finalize that product with the media processor and send that out to the real world on there. From there, just a quick highlight, just to talk about three different family members, but there are two variations with the LC300S and the LC300. The big difference between the two is the 12G SDI capability built in on the LC300S. And then on the LC100N, we do have NDI on that one on a 2-channel version. And then obviously we have NDI built in on the LC300 and 300S. But you've talked about the media processor. So let's figure out how you're going to get the image in, right? You've got a number of different things you can choose where you have a PTZ camera or a box camera, depending which one you want to do. You have the ability to choose a PTZ camera, which you may have, assuming you have the capability to have a person managing it, you can have it follow the individual left or right as the individual moves and speaks. But let's say in the situation where you have something more automated, Lumens creates what we call tracking cameras, right? So depending on the room environment, you can have it something in a corporate office sitting here where it'll fixate on the voice of the individual speaking and center the individual. Or in the image on the right that you see, you have the ability to go ahead and have the camera focus on two of the specific images, one on the presenter, and then possibly one on the conscious that's being showed on a display or on a wall. The one other thing I want to talk about is stage tracking. And this to me is a very cool feature set that you can design and get set up on there, right? I'm going to hop to the one on the right first, just because that's something that's commonly used. We've been using this actually in the lecture system is stage tracking, where you can set up and design an area where the presenter's at. So where that, as you can see, we have an orange box or a yellow box here to define where the individual goes. And then you can there as the presenter goes left and right, the camera will follow this individual as they go, as long as they stay in that area. There's also other variations on there with partition tracking where you want them to focus on certain specific areas. And then something that is also out, which we talk about, the everywhere tracking on there. So this is as the presenter goes maybe into the stands or in amongst the aisles, or it goes back left and right. So it just depends on the solution and what you want to focus on there. Lumens carries about 4 different variations of a tracking camera, depending on what you need: 1080p, 12x optical zoom, up to a 30x optical zoom. So we do carry out quite a random amount of flavors that we have on there for all the solutions that you might need. Well, let's go ahead and talk about connectivity that goes with this. So we've talked about the images from the camera. We've talked about media processing on there. But let's talk about some of the connectivities, and sometimes you are limited on some of that connectivity capability. So Lumens has developed the OIP bridge or AV-OIP bridge for the solution, which we can allow the ability of the distance via IP, but connect directly. So we can take audio and video sources into one of our decoders and bring that directly as a one USB-C cable to the individual piece. So let's talk about the connectivity portion of what we have on here. So we have a couple flavors to variation on there right now. So we do have an NDI version of the encoder and decoder for our OIP bridge. We support NDI HX up to NDI HX3. Oh, apologies, I almost forgot to say the 3 there. So we have that, and we can also pair that up if need be with an IP camera control that's NDI based. The second variation that we have on the OIP bridge is an OIP-N Dante solution. Currently, we have a Dante-enabled device for the decoder, and we have launched out actually the encoder version of it as well, but that is a Dante-ready solution. So that will be something that does need to get purchased separately, a license for the encoder, but those are all 3 are available now. Where are you going to see this encoder and decoder take place? And I kind of want to have this topology, and is for a much larger environment. And that's kind of important to understand, because with IP, you do have a maximum distance of 300 feet. While if you're working with HDMI or USB, you really start getting that degradation signal, outside of 10 feet. You can go up to about 15 feet, give or take. But the point being is that environments may not give the ability to have an HDMI extension to go that far. And if you do, you're not going to get quite the signal, quite the quality. So this really does help extend the signal, and simplify the connectivity points where the encoder or the decoder can take in all the connection points through a switch, and then go directly into our device. So from here, you can also have it set up for the some type of Cat6 solution on there, where you have the decoder connecting to the display, and then the encoder connected to the laptop. So you can go ahead and have content going in and out of the solution on there. So with that, we do have, like I said, noted, we do have 3 different flavors on it. All of them are available to ship now. So we talked about the solutions. We talked about some of the components that are part of this piece here. But I do want to talk about some of the protocols that we are commonly used with. I'll talk about 3 overall, but really want to focus on 2 portions of it. Talking about NDI and Dante. I'm assuming most of us are fairly familiar with the protocols on there, so I will go over it briefly on the capabilities and what the value is of it. But we talk about NDI, and we talk about really, it's a very cost-efficient solution, but what NDI and Dante do provide is scalability. I think that's going to be very important to see. When you have an NDI solution, when you work with our encoders and decoders, we are work compatible with about 200 NDI devices that we have on there right now. In addition to that, similar with Dante, similar with regards to scalable and flexible. But the additional beauty that comes with Dante is actually their centralized management system. We'll talk about that here. We have the Dante controller set up with Dante Director and Dante Domain Manager. I think those are important feature sets as we see. I know Dante historically has been an audio portion, but their development in the video side is fast and up and coming. So something that is starting to develop. We do have the Dante decoder, and we will actually very shortly have a Dante-based camera as well. I do want to highlight a use case here. Very excited for this project that we have at a Big Ten university. So for those who are not familiar with the Big Ten, I'm a college football guy, so there's conferences called the Big Ten out there. So we're currently working with this individual university out in the Northeast, and we've actually had the opportunity to set up their learning management systems with the Lumens camera and a Lumens decoder. So last year we did about 70 rooms, and this year we're in the process of getting 200 more rooms installed. But basically, as you'll see in the images here, in this lecture room holds about 60 students. They've got a camera set up here in the back here, following the individual, and then in other environments as well. So this one, I was really excited about the success of it, given the glass around it, and worried about some of the voice and some of the sound reverberations from the glass, but that has worked seamlessly over the last year, and we're excited to see for the next set of installations. In addition with that, they're using our encoders and decoders to help the connectivity for some of the distance issues that they're facing. So, sorry, I apologize. This is going to be a fairly quick presentation, but if you want to have more questions about the Lumens ProAV Lab, please let us know on there. I'll revert back to a slide I had in the very beginning. If there's needs that you guys have, apologize here. If you're looking to have a demo testing of the product, you want to go ahead and get a live demo, please feel free to reach us out. We can go get you scheduled with Rick to do a live demo. But the most important thing to feel is having the use of the product in your hands, right? It's the proof is in the pudding when you actually test the products and use it, So please, work with the zone managers, and we'll go ahead and get that demo set up for you, and we'll get that out to you in about 5 to 7 business days, depending where you're at in the country. But thank you guys very much. Any questions that we have, Helen?
Yes, thank you all. I'll go ahead and recite the questions now. Feel free to place them in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. Question we have is, for monitoring, do you have SNMP on these products?
Joris, I'm going to ask you on that one. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Yours, we're having trouble hearing you. Could you check your audio real quick?
You hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
There we go.
Okay.
Thanks.
So how we do, so what we did for managing all of our devices, and that goes really from cameras up to encoders and decoders, we built now our own management software where you can basically update, see the situation of the device, turn them on, turn them off, and group them all. So that means you can make critical groups where you say, okay, there I don't want to do a firmware update. I can manage it. I can see how the situation is. Some of them you can update immediately. Some of them you say, no, these are critical. So we leave. So what we built for that is a management software, but on our own platform. But it's a free software downloadable from our website.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joris. Does anyone have any more questions that they'd like to ask at this time? Okay, very good. Thank you all for joining today. We will share this recorded webinar out to you folks shortly. And please feel free to look at our website to look at our additional upcoming events lined up for the year. Thank you all for joining today and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.